Okay, I think we should be good to go. Recording in progress. Okay. Hi, welcome to another KEP Reading Club session. Today is August 16th. And as usual, we follow a code of conduct which boils down to be excellent to each other. And this meeting is being recorded, so please don't say or do anything that you don't want online. So, with that, we have two KEPs today. The first one is podcast, which is the responsible SIG is SIG apps, and this looks like a moderately. This looks like it doesn't look too long, so we can probably spend I guess 10 minutes on it. And uh, if anyone here wants to like write down questions or notes in the doc itself, so that we can probably like ping the author later on, just feel free to edit the doc. Yeah. Okay. Should I start the timer? Is everyone good to go? Okay, awesome. Thanks. Okay, so I'm starting the timer in three, two, and start. Okay, that's time. So, do people want like an extension of maybe 2 more minutes, or can we start discussing? Do folks need more time? All right. I'm assuming we can start discussing. So, does anyone have questions off the bat?
I had the questions at the start when I was first reading before I got to the user stories, and it was more along the lines of why. But it's very clear from the user stories where this can actually benefit something.
I think the feature gate is like mislabeled, kind of. Like, so in the feature gate section of kep.yaml, it's replica set pod deletion cost, but then I couldn't really find it in the docs or anywhere else. But then in like the actual feature gate file, it's called pod deletion cost, and that's what is reflected in the docs as well, I think. So I'll probably reach out and ask which one would you like to be kept.
Yeah, this went beta for 122, so I guess
Yeah.
it's enabled by default.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
I think the default value, like, there is not written anywhere like about the enablement.
So if a feature is in beta, it's by default enabled. There
Okay.
are a few
Okay.
exceptions also, but generally the case is that if a feature is in beta, it's by default enabled. If it's in alpha, it's by default disabled, and you need to like explicitly uh, flip the gate or like pass a command line argument saying enable this sort of thing. Yeah. Another question I had was, they said that if all the pods in the replica set have the same deletion cost, or if deletion cost is not mentioned at all, then the behavior remains the same. But my question was, what if, let's say you have 5 pods in a replica set, and there is deletion cost mentioned for 2 of them? So would it be such that those two would be considered for deletion in accordance to this, and then the remaining 3 are deleted by default, like according to the default way of things? Or is it just all, is it like an all or none kind of situation that happens here? I don't know if I missed that detail, but that was something that I had in mind.
I guess regarding this, it's like, the active pods with the ranks, the definitions. I think all the definitions make it clear about what you were asking about the situation which you asked. I think there are like, yeah, there is something called as active pods with ranks, how they are sorted out. Is like most of the situations with 2 pods, how they're ranked and like, considered. Those are already written there, like, there are 7 rules. I think what is there in the proposal is, apart from that, what, like, the following criteria, that is like, comparing 2 pods regardless of deletion cost. So these 3 criteria are not the universal one, rather than the what is defined in that active pods with ranks. The ranking is more universal than what is mentioned in this 3. Like, this comes after that.
Okay.
No, this is not a primary, that is primary one.
Okay, that makes sense. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, we're making great time. Should we move on to the next cap then? All right. So just like before we start, I see like a few new faces. So basically, in these sessions, as you might have now noticed, what we usually do is we take a cap. So people suggest caps that are of interest to them, or they've written them and they would like feedback on it. So they suggest those caps, and we take that cap, spend around 10 minutes reading that together, and then discuss that cap and like ask questions related to it, or give feedback or things like that. So that's basically what's happening here. So if folks join in the middle, then that's why all the silence, nothing else. Okay, let me start another timer and we can look at the next cap. So this cap is adding gRPC probe. This cap is part of SIG node, and this one's targeted for 123. Because I remember this was discussed in the last meeting, so this one is for sure in 123. So if folks are interested in like maybe contributing, you can reach out to SIG node. Okay, starting the timer in 3, 2, and 1. Yeah, that's time. So do folks need some more time? Also, just a reminder. So if people are like trying to access the doc and are not able to, or like edit the doc rather, to get edit access, you'll have to like join the SIG architecture mailing list. So this is the link. You should be able to get access after that. So do folks have questions from this right off the bat? Any questions?
I have a question. There is mentioned about this. As specified, the kubelet probe will not allow use of client certificates nor verify the certificate on the container. So I want to understand if this feature, verification of certificate on the container was already a default feature of kubelet, which is disabled now, or it was not a feature at all enabled in kubelet. Also, is this feature available with gRPC health checker or not? Because verification of certificate on container is a very important use case as for the users, because we are using this HTTP2, or whether this certificate verification is present in HTTP2 or not. I'm not aware about that since I'm new to this. So if anyone could clarify me with that, then yeah, it would be.
Yeah, that was a question I had too. gRPC health checker is actually the same behavior by default. So you can enable it to verify certs in check, but by default, it will not. So if you're using gRPC health checker without enabling any of that, it should be the same kind of behavior.
Okay, but here it is mentioned that kubelet probe will not allow. So once the gRPC is integrated, it's called this readiness probe. So will that also, not verify the certificate on the container? Like, is it a means something we could enable and disable on a purpose, or it is like it will not allow the use of this verification of certificates?
Yeah, that's how I took it, as it won't work with TLS on the with the feature here. And that's probably,
Okay.
I'm sure that's like a ease of implementation thing. And I'm sure if there's enough like need for it, then it can be added in a future KEP and iteration.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Thanks for the clarification.
So this is targeted for 123.
Yeah. It sort of
276.
slipped through the gaps for 122, but I remember like a lot of people in SIG node were really looking forward to this step.
Oh yeah, they're aiming for 123. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you use gRPC health checks for your services that you're writing.
Yeah, no, last year I used this gRPC thing I was using while my internship. So I worked with this health checker thing, and just a bit of it I used, but I was not that much acquainted. Even I didn't know gRPC is an open source or something like that. But yeah, I have a very skewed idea about how those things work.
Yeah, I'm curious how many people are actually adding gRPC based health checks to their applications.
Yeah, even before this session, I thought gRPC is a paid feature. Yeah, I thought, but not. Okay, it's open source.
So I'm still a little unclear on the fact about how is the kubelet going to convey the status back, like in what format. So is it going to be like, is the readiness probe format just going to, is that just going to be the same, or is that going to differ somehow to incorporate more verbosity for the gRPC health check, or is there going to be like an option to maybe like provide more information if necessary? So not sure yet, but I'm assuming like since they're targeted, they'll probably do a cap iteration now and add more details.
I think I think it's just looking for HTTP 200.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I think. I don't know if there's any further configuration for like matching on response body, but I think it's just a status code check. I'm trying to look in the docs now. And this kind of just goes in with the, you could run a binary to do a health check currently, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the binary just checks exit code 0. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I see this as being useful for if you're using a binary to exec a health check. That's how it determines. So yeah, I think it's just checking like the status codes. I'm not sure how many people are using gRPC based health check endpoints, but it's cool.
But I mean, I guess it sort of makes sense if you have an increasing number of gRPC services itself running in the cluster. So if you would like, if you could get the kubelet to do all of those health checks for you in some form, and then maybe I don't know, write a controller which checks for a condition, maybe. So just a lot of it can be, you could abstract away a lot of detail there. That's sort of nice, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I was reading Amit's repo for gRPC Health Probe, what this is based on, and he specifically calls out Kubernetes does not natively support gRPC health checking since it does not favor one RPC framework over another. So I guess we're making that distinction.
Hey, one more thing there is mentioned about this, in the gRPC port action port, they had this init 32 declared, and like they are saying that this was on purpose, and we want to move users away from using the port number and port name union type. I didn't get that. Why is that necessary? Like do you mention the port number or port name? Like I like what are these two basic variables or functions, a port number and port name?
Yeah, I didn't understand that either, especially the moving away from part, because right now when you're doing when you're tying a deployment to a service, you have to like name the port and then you can reference the name. So I didn't realize that was something we're trying to get people to stop doing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think we could add that in the thread to get back on this.
I think it also might help looking at the PR for this cap, because I saw Tim Hawkin was one of the approvers, and I'm sure like he would have had some like nice comment on that particular part of it. or like some nice discussion would have been this. Let me see
Yeah.
if I can like dig up the PR for this.
Oh yeah, Tim commented. He says, "Do we really need names? That's been such a mess."
Oh yeah, yeah, I saw that.
I'll change it to int. It introduces an inconsistency, but that's okay.
All right, yeah. I didn't know it was like it caused a mess. I wonder why. I'm assuming it's a mess on the implementation side and not on the user-facing side of things. Because like I at least I can't think of anything of any case where that would lead to confusion of any sort. Because like giving a name to a port is sort of easier to like reference it from a user's perspective. But yeah.
I'm really curious now. I might ask Tim to clarify that. I dropped a comment on the cap. We'll see if he responds.
Okay, awesome.
Any other thoughts or questions?
No, sounds good.
Do we want to pick out some caps for next time when we have some time?
There's already one cap in like the backlog list
Oh,
or
good.
whatever, like the first part. Yeah. So I tried contacting its author, but she couldn't make it today. So, but she's like she really wanted to discuss it also. So she asked me to like put it up for next week. So yeah, so we already have one. If we can get one more, that'd be awesome. So
I
feel free
reviewed
to-
this, Kep. That's great.
yeah. But yeah, so like if we can get one more, that'd be great, and like preferably like early on. But lucky for us, we have 2 weeks, so it's not a bad time period.
Yeah, I'd like to get one that's still open. When is enhancements freeze for 123? Release schedule. Let's see. I know we just put out the release schedule. It's probably in my email somewhere. Maybe SIG release. Let's see.
On 9th September.
That's enhancements freeze.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's coming up quick. That's less than a month away. Oh my God. I have a bunch of KEPs I need to review and approve.
But good thing is there's nearly 2 months of time between enhancement and code freeze this time.
Okay.
So yeah, this time it was a little weird because I remember like a lot of implementations of KEPs landed in the same week. So and because they all landed in the same week, things looked good initially. They got merged, and then one affected the other, and then some tests started failing here and there, and people weren't sure like what PR caused the failures. So it's a good thing like we have a broader period between enhancement freeze and code freeze this time.
Yes. And KubeCon does not fall on top of a milestone this time. I just had to double check.
Yeah. It'll be right in the middle of development. So
okay. So enhancements freeze is September 9th. That is coming up. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
I need to get my KEPs ready for approval.
Is there anyone here writing KEPs for this release at least?
I am hoping to get it in for this release. I still have the kube control delete KEP that I've been working on. I met with Tim actually on Friday.
Oh yeah.
And we have some hopefully good ideas that make it in the KEP. We'll see.
I actually had one idea which I was like hoping to bring up in a CLI meeting, but I was waiting for like Jordan's approval sort of thing. But like basically it's on kubectl debug. So someone suggested, like there was some feedback on Twitter regarding ephemeral containers and debug in general. And they suggested it'd be nice if we can like have kubectl debug --rm. So like for cluster administrators if they want to delete it. And since 123, like in 122, removal of ephemeral containers was supposed to be supported, but then it got pushed to 123 because of some issues happening there. But then Jordan raised some concerns about, do we really need deletion of ephemeral containers in the first place? So that discussion is still going on, and if by the end of it they reach the conclusion that okay, this is actually like a nice needed feature, then I'll probably like bring it up in a CLI meeting and like see what folks have to say.
Please do, and make sure you talk to Lee Verbain.
Yeah, so I've been working with him for about some time with like sentences, grammar, what is happening. So yeah, so basically I've been working with him for some time now on ephemeral container. So that seemed like a nice addition also. So yeah, like there was quite a lot of feedback on Twitter, but turns out all of them, most of the feedback would be solved in 122. Some feedback not too difficult to like resolve, but also so seem like good features to add. So let's see how that goes. Okay, we have 7 minutes remaining. Just like any last minute questions or like queries in general. Awesome. So let me stop recording.